How we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview. Newcastle against Arsenal, St James's Park. Oh, such a difficult place to go. One of the most difficult places to go in the Premier League. And on the back of that defeat on Wednesday, it's not ideal. And of course, Newcastle will be buzzing right now after they went to Old Trafford and won 3-0. Even though they had a much changed side. But yeah, Newcastle, it's a tough place to go. The atmosphere, just everything about it is really difficult. And the way that Eddie Howe has got Newcastle playing, it's so difficult. You know, you only have to look at some of their games this season at St James's Park. Look at what happened to PSG at St James's Park. Unbelievable. But yeah, I suppose if you're looking during the course of a season, if there's ever a good time to go to a ground or play a team, then you would probably say that maybe now might be a good time to play Newcastle. And the only reason why I say that is because of the amount of injuries that they have. It's not dismissing Newcastle, not dismissing the players that will play. It's just the fact that they're going to be a little bit weaker than they normally would be. You've got to look at Tonali, of course. He's, you know, suspended now for 10 months because of the betting scandal. You've got to feel for Newcastle with that one because they buy the player and everything. It's got nothing to do with them, what's gone on. But they've now lost him for the next 10 months. It's the remainder of the season. So that's a big blow. Sven Botman, he's going to be missing for Newcastle. Isak is going to be missing as well. Murphy's going to be missing. So they've got some big players that are not going to be playing. But at the same time, they've still got some big players available. You look at the fullback positions. You've got Trippier and Dan Burn. Nick Pope, obviously, in goal. You've got the likes of Joe Linton and whatnot in midfield. Almiron, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head all their players, so excuse me if I miss some of them out, but Guimaraes, like, there's a strong side. They're a strong side, and what I'm just trying to say is that they're just going to be a little bit weaker because of, you know, the injuries, and they're big players that they're missing as well. If you flip that with Arsenal's side, then you look at Gabriel Jesus, that's a big miss. Thomas Partey's hardly played at all this season, so you won't really pull it in that category. Emil Smith-Rowe hardly plays, so it's not going to be bad. Jurriën Timber's been out, you know, from a long time ago. We knew about that. So, yeah, I think we're a little bit, you know, in a better position than Newcastle in terms of injuries. But like I said, it's going to be a ridiculously hard game. You go back to last season, it was probably one of our best performances in a number of years at St James's Park. What a performance. First half, we could have actually gone in at half time 3 or 4-0 ahead. And that's not even an exaggeration. The amount of times we cut through Newcastle and had one-on-ones and we missed them. And we got the only goal of that half with Odegaard. Second half was just an onslaught from Newcastle, and we stood up to everything, every tactic, every, you know, way that they tried to bully us on the pitch, and it was immense. I remember Martinelli hit the bar and then we scored, and it was just an absolute top performance that day. So we're going to need more of the same again, massively. And we're going to need to get West Ham out of the system. We're going to need to move on from that. We're not going to be, you know, starting the same lineup in that respect. We're not going to be playing, you know, some of the players that played in that. And yeah, hopefully we can, you know, get the 3 points. We need to remember as well, we're still unbeaten in the Premier League. We still need to remember that despite the defeat and everything feeling bad, we're in a very good position. We're second in the Premier League. We're undefeated. We're top of our Champions League group, having played 2 difficult away games already. It's not the end of the world at the moment. So team lineup is going to be key, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Mikel Arteta does. Now, let's go and get into the lineup. Starting off in goal, David Raya. I think this is a very straightforward one now. It's obvious that he is the number one. I don't think Aaron Ramsdale covered himself in glory on Wednesday. I don't think anyone did, to be honest with you. But yeah, I can't see that one changing. Right back, Ben White. If there's only one thing about Ben White that I'd like to change is his hair. Because since he's done that, different colour hair, he's just we've just lost games. Just go back to normal, please. But yeah, he will start the game. I've got no issues with that. Right centre back, William Saliba comes back into the side, had a nice rest. He's going to be key. He is absolutely superb, and I don't need to say any more about him. Alongside him, Gabriel didn't have the greatest games on Wednesday, but next to Saliba, he's a very, very different person. So that's what we're going to go with. Now, left back, Tomiyasu. He deserves to start. He's been better than Zinchenko, and Zinchenko's performance on Wednesday was abysmal. I'm not playing him, not in a million years, and I start Tomiyasu all day long. In the midfield area, I'm going to go with Jorginho. Now, I'd like to see him in there, and you'll realise in a moment why I'm putting him there and whatnot as we go further forward. But yeah, Jorginho will go in there, a calm head with the players around him. I think he'll be absolutely fine. On the right-hand side, Bukayo Saka. Going to need a big performance from him. Going to need him getting at Dan Burn. Newcastle will be wary of that. And, I remember the game at the Emirates where first 10 minutes they left Dan Burn one-on-one against Saka and he got absolutely roasted. And they very quickly nullified that and put two over there to cover it. If I remember, it was Joe Linton that was doing a lot of the covering. But yeah, Bukayo Saka's going to need a big game. Next up, we have Martin Odegaard. Don't have a problem with this. He hasn't been in the best of form. There might be a little injury. Scored on Wednesday, consolation, whatever. Going to need a big performance like he did last year at St James's Park. Got the first goal and everything else. And going to need a captain's performance, that's for sure. Next up, we have Declan Rice, more advanced position. He's got the energy to get there and everywhere. He is just immense. What a player. Absolutely superb. And this one's a very, very straightforward decision. On the left-hand side, Martinelli, and going to need to get him isolated against Kieran Trippier. Very good defender. But I feel that Martinelli will have the better of him in terms of the pace. So it's about isolation and getting him into those key areas. So that's what I'd have there. Now, up front as the main striker, I'm going to go with Kai Havertz. If you're going to play him as a number 9. And it's as simple as that. Eddie Nketiah, I see a statistic the other day. And I know it's in double figures where he hasn't actually scored away from home. It's an absolutely awful record. And, people will say that he scored the hat-trick against Sheffield United. But some are saying he scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United because he was playing at his level. And yeah, you've got to say, would he do that against City, Liverpool, etc.? No. For me, Kai Havertz, he'll go as the 9. I think that it allows us to get out of any press as well and have that different variation. And if Kai Havertz is going to play, he plays as a number 9. And trust me on that one. So listen, there we go. That is it for the preview and the predicted lineup. I think that's a very, very strong 11. Very strong. We're going to need to get the 3 points. Would I take a draw? It wouldn't be the end of the world, but I want to win every game. And I feel that with the injuries that Newcastle do have, it's a good opportunity to go there and try and get those 3 points. So we will wait and see what happens. Listen, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot very soon. I'm out of here.